This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV.
Welcome to Monday Petty Monday, where we don't start drama, we just document it. If something annoyed you, irritated you, or lived rent-free in your head all week, you're in the right place.
Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting, turn the volume up. Yeah, the whole world's invited, from the gravel road to the neon dream. She built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it.
Hey y'all, how you doing? Come on now. Come in, get settled, because it's Monday. Then you really already know what we're doing around here. This right here is Petty Monday. Monday, Petty Monday. Yeah, kind of like the song. Anyway, this right here on AskABee, and Monday being so petty, is the one day of the week where we take off the polite filter just a little bit and talk about the messy parts of life that people usually whisper about after dinner. Not the cute stories, not the easy ones. I'm talking about the moments where somebody does something so outrageous, so sideways, and so disrespectful that you sit there thinking, there is no way this person expected that to go well. Because the truth is, relationships, whether it's family, friends, spouses, coworkers, they're all built on this invisible agreement called respect. And most of the time, people understand that, right? Most people know where, or there are certain lines you just don't cross. You don't humiliate somebody in front of others. You don't betray someone's trust, and you don't take a cheap shot at someone's insecurities and then act surprised when they clap back. But listen, every once in a while, somebody forgets the rules of the game, and suddenly the whole room is looking around, wondering who started the fire and why everybody's eyebrows are singed. Now, the stories we look at on this show come straight from real people asking that classic question: am I the one that's wrong here? Am I the a-hole? Because sometimes when everything explodes around you, it's hard to tell whether you crossed the line or whether you simply reacted to somebody else's crossing it first. So today's story, it's one of those moments, where a dinner table conversation went from casual family talk to full-blown emotional demolition in about, 10 seconds flat. And I'll tell you right now, this one touches on something a lot of people know all too well: insecurity. The kind that sits there quietly in the back of your mind until somebody decides to shine a spotlight right directly on it in the worst possible moment. Listen, when the person who's supposed to have your back is the one throwing the insult, that's when things can get really ugly really fast, right? So we're going to talk about all of that, and we're going to walk through what happened, hear how the whole situation blew up, and then we're going to figure out the real question behind it all. Was this just a sharp comeback that went too far, or was it the natural consequence of somebody pushing a little too hard, at exactly the wrong time? So let's get into this first story. God is the way, amen. Thank you. Happy to have you. Thank you for saying that. All righty. So now let's get into our petty business. Let's see. Our first story. You want petty? How's this? I work in a small office block of 5 floors with a basement car park and only a single lift working at present instead of 2. I'm on the 2nd floor, and a few desks away from me works an older guy who I will call Dickhead. Dickhead is a character, but also just plain offensive and sarcastic at times, and has been a bit of a prick to me a few times when I have asked for his help, which has really pissed me off and insulted my intelligence. I don't like him. I try not to talk to him. I don't care what he did on the weekend or what he thinks about anything. We all work with someone like this. Not all of us. I'm sure you can relate. Maybe. So the other morning, I arrived at work and realized that Dickhead is not in. Wonderful, I think to myself. No jokes, no music, no Dickhead perhaps for the day. Excellent. I left my earbuds in my car, so I go down to the basement car park to get them. I noticed Dickhead has just arrived late, has pulled his car into his spot on the back wall, and is getting out of his car as I get back into the lift with my earbuds. I don't hold the lift for him. Petty. He's too far away. I don't even think he noticed me. As I get out of on my floor the second, I have a moment of inspiration and run my hand down all the buttons on the lift and get out, sending the lift to every floor above me before it would go back down to the basement to collect Dickhead. I bought myself a few extra minutes of being Dickhead free. It's so petty, it's laughable, but I enjoyed it immensely and I got away with it. Now, if that ain't petty, my friends, I don't know what is. Look, Petty Monday, Monday Petty Monday is the one day of the week where we can look at a situation and say, yeah, that might not have been the most mature choice, but sometimes this, in the spirit of petty, it grabs you and it grabs the steering wheel and you just let it drive for a minute. And honey, what you did right there is what I call quiet office warfare, because you didn't scream at the man. You didn't start drama. You didn't file a complaint. You simply looked at that elevator panel and said, today, the universe is going to give me 5 peaceful minutes. And if that means that Lyft takes a little scenic tour of every floor in the building, then so be it. And I'm not saying it was noble, okay? But I am saying it was efficient, because sometimes when somebody has spent enough time talking down to you and treating you like you're the dumbest person in the room, the tiniest harmless act of petty justice feels a little emotionally equivalent. I don't know. Have a sweet tea on me, okay? The fact that you didn't hurt him, you didn't damage anything, you didn't even get caught, just means you gave yourself a little breathing room before dealing with Captain Sarcasm for the rest of the day. And honestly, the story is that somewhere in that building, that man was probably standing in front of that elevator wondering why in the hell it was stopping on every floor like it was on a damn sightseeing tour. And you were already upstairs minding your business. Good girl. Earbuds in. You're living your best peaceful life for 5 whole minutes. So is it petty? Absolutely. But I love it. It's the harmless kind of petty. Okay, come on. That makes Monday a little more bearable. And I'm sure it was Monday for you at that point. Yes, ma'am, it sure is. And sometimes that is exactly the level of revenge the situation deserves, don't you think? Of course, we got some comments for these. Crazy comments, too. All right, spent some time in Korea. Was floored to learn that there you can push the button in the elevator again to turn them off if you hit the wrong one. Okay. Had a Korean ask me, well, what do you do if you hit the wrong floor in America? The answer? We live with the consequences of our actions. Amen. Second commenter, put a soda bottle on the floor, laying down perpendicular to the door. The elevator doors won't close with an obstruction. There you go. The soda bottle won't bounce out if it's not super full of air or soda. And it will continue to open and close until someone removes the obstruction. That's a little more petty, I think, than we need to have here, though, my friend. Please, these are not the kinds of comments we should be directing. Source, oh, I did this when I was 13 on a trip to the beach in Florida. Our whole class was on the 14th floor, so me and a few friends rode up to the 16th floor, set soda bottles there, and then ran down 2 flights and waited. 7 a.m., everyone is supposed to be at the buses to leave to head home. But since the elevator wouldn't work, everyone had to use the stairs. We lollygagged around until most everyone had stayed their arduous journey, and we ran back up, moved the bottles, and rode one of the elevators back down. That's my kind of people, I'm telling you. All right. Third commenter, I did something similar to a dickhead who used to live on the 18th floor of the apartment building I used to live in. One afternoon, I just got into a lift and pressed the button for the 6th floor, which I lived on, and saw a dickhead running to catch the lift. I quickly pressed all the buttons from 7 upwards. When I saw him the next time, he just gave me a funny look. Well, I probably would have given you a funny look too. Now, see, what I'm hearing from all 3 of y'all is that petty is apparently an international language. Because whether it's elevators in Korea, soda bottles, sabotage in Florida, or pressing every button in a building just to watch somebody's morning get a little more inconvenient, the common theme here is that when people get a tiny opportunity to inconvenience someone who's been irritating them, they take it. And honestly, most of these stories aren't about hurting anybody. They're just about that little moment of satisfaction where life gives you a harmless chance to be just a touch mischievous, right? And you sit back thinking, well, maybe the universe wanted that elevator to take the scenic route today. I love it. You know, I love it. Make it messy. Bring it home. I love it. All right, we got another story. Of course. Now then, am I the asshole for not punishing my daughter for mocking her cousin? My wife and her younger sister are best friends. As a result, when our middle daughter and her cousin were born around the same time, my wife really expected them to also be best friends. With 16 years of hindsight, I can say with certainty that the expectation was misplaced. Nothing happened in particular. My daughter just doesn't like her cousin. My wife keeps pushing the relationship. This includes making my daughter spend time with her cousin during family gatherings, inviting her cousin on trips, forcing my daughter to call her. We're pretty sure I'm the favorite parent, a fact that keeps my ego well inflated. And therefore, my apathy towards the situation is not well received by my wife. Retro. From my perspective, this isn't important, and I don't possess the ability to make 2 teenagers become friends. I'm also pretty sure that trying to push this kind of knuckleheaded stuff makes kids not want to speak to you. This is where I'm probably an asshole. That's not the only place. Okay. Yesterday, my wife forced my daughter to video call her cousin. My daughter rejected the request, and my wife told her, unless you have a valid reason for disliking your cousin, you will do this because we're family. The call occurred. This morning, we awoke to a PowerPoint presentation titled Valid Reasons to Dislike Cousin. Oh my, I'm liking this youngin' already. Using clips from the Zoom call. Segments included Why is cousin's voice so grating? A music theory approach, a case study, conversations that provide no value, rethinking the idea that there are no dumb questions, etc. With the benefit of a couple of hours of hindsight, it was a very cruel takedown of her cousin's entire personality. My wife was furious. My eldest daughter and I lost our shit laughing. My wife is demanding I support her in punishing my daughter for bullying her cousin. I have refused because I feel this is the whole situation wouldn't have occurred if she didn't push the relationship. But I'm starting to have second thoughts because it was very mean. Am I the a-hole? All right, look, I'm going to say this plain because sometimes the truth sits right in the middle of the mess and nobody wants to admit it. But here it is. Yes, that PowerPoint was mean. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that roasting your cousin's entire personality with slides, clips, and a full analysis of her voice wasn't savage, because it absolutely was. And genius. Sorry. Not sorry. Your daughter clearly understood the assignment when it came to delivering a brutal takedown. But at the same time, this whole situation didn't just fall out of the sky yesterday, right? Either because it sounds like for 16 years, your wife has been trying to force a friendship that simply doesn't exist. And the more you push teenagers into something they don't want, the more creative they get about pushing back. And what happened here was basically a teenager saying, fine, you want reasons? I'll give you reasons, in the most over the top, sarcastic, mature way possible. I mean, come on, a PowerPoint presentation. I can't even imagine. Now, where I think you stepped in the wrong lane is laughing about it right in front of your wife, because that immediately undermines her as a parent and turns the whole thing into mom versus everyone else, which never, ever, ever ends well in a household. So even if part of you thought it was funny, okay, you still have to pretend a united front, because parenting can't turn into a comedy roast at the kitchen table. Look, the real lesson here isn't forcing punishment just to prove a point. It's recognizing that you cannot manufacture friendships out of family titles. And the harder that you push that expectation, the more resentment builds until something like this explodes. So, yes, your daughter should probably understand that publicly humiliating someone, even if she doesn't like them, crosses a line. But the adults also need to learn that because we're family, it's not a magic spell that suddenly makes two teenagers want to be best friends. It's just not going to happen. All right, comments. First commenter, seriously, my 16-year-old self would have thrown a hissy and stomped around. Mine too. Original poster's kid is clever as all get out. Agreed. She put together her thoughts in a concise and organized way, not the asshole. Second commenter, I aspire to be half this brilliant someday. Me too. And I'm about twice the original poster daughter's age. Original poster, you need to have a serious talk with your wife about why she's so obsessed with trying to force your daughter to play friends with her cousin. And if she thinks this obsession of hers is more important than having a relationship with her daughter, yeah. So long as your daughter isn't being rude or nasty to get cousin at family dinner or gatherings, she's not doing anything wrong, not the asshole. Final comment. The idea that you can make a teenage girl be friends with somebody by force is silly. I'm going to stop right there and say, amen, sister. Okay. You can't force teenagers to do anything. The cousin might actually not even be that bad. And there is a good chance once both are older, they can connect better. Certainly happened to me. There is one cousin with whom we even had fist fights a few times. I got one like that. I call him my brother cuz I've talked about him before. Yeah, I whooped his ass. He took my bike, warped the damn tire, come back with the tire in one hand and my brand new bike my mom had just bought me. I whooped his. I did. Texas, baby, fork around and find out. All right. Basically laughed it off, but oh, that sucks that I did that. Hold up. Sorry, lost my spot. Of course I did. Let me just say a PowerPoint. Come on. You got to give this little girl some credit, okay? All right. I think I'm back there. Okay, our parents basically laughed it off. But back then, he was a big fat cheater. Fast forward 20 years. Now we're petty. We're our petty good buds. We're pretty good buds, pardon me. Now we're pretty good buds. I think that's what we mean. Punctuation, people. Okay, barbecue. That kind of stuff. Got it. I believe this is one of the clear situations where forcing something might make it even less likely to happen in the future. Agreed. Yeah. See, and what all three of these are saying, I think, basically circling around is the same point. Okay, which is what you cannot force teenagers to manufacture a friendship or any kind of relationship just because the adults think it would be cute or convenient. And the harder you push it, the more creative kids get about pushing back. And your daughter clearly chose the nuclear option with that PowerPoint because, come on, she felt like nobody was listening to her. And the first 10 times she said, she didn't want this relationship. Now, yeah, the presentation was savage and probably crossed a line or two. Maybe mean territory. But the bigger issue everybody keeps pointing out is that forcing two people to pretend they like each other rarely works, and it usually just builds resentment until something blows up exactly like this. So the lesson here isn't that the kid is some evil mastermind. It isn't that. It's that trying to micromanage teenage friendships is like trying to herd cats. And sometimes the more you chase the outcome, the faster it runs the other direction, right? All right, y'all. These darn dogs are catching my attention again. It's already time for me. So y'all take a listen to this song. I'll be right back. Thank you.
She came from the quiet storms, built a fire from the ground, turned a whisper to a warning. Now her voice shakes the town. Every setback was a lesson. Every doubt became a key, unlocking something bigger. That's the rise of Boss B. When the lights go low, her vision hits high. She built a whole damn network off a promise and a try. Every sunrise, every moment, she's stacking legacy. This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV. Boss B rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel road to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss B rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's the queen of the comeback, the storm in the stream, crafting stories out of heartbeats, making visions out of dreams. founder of the BBTV dynasty. Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's got fire in the head, it's got truth in the frame. Got a heart that won't retire and a gift you can't name. Every loop, every letter, every dream she sets free. It's a love note to the world sign. Boss B. And the world keeps watching as the numbers climb, but she's counting all the moments, not the dollar signs. From the late night grind to the daylight scene, she's building something bigger than the algorithm's dream. Boss be rising, BBTV shining. Her story's rewriting a legacy in real time. Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. BBTV, where the stories breathe. BBTV, where the dreamers believe. Boss be rising, watch her take her place. This is BBTV, this is her grace.
All right, here we are back again. Everybody ready for this next one? I think I am. I'm going to say that I am. All righty. Y'all be sure and hit that like button for me, please. Don't forget to hit that subscribe too. And you really should consider becoming a member. Okay, let's get our banner up. Now then, am I the a-hole for calling off my wedding after finding out my fiance slept with my dad 4 years ago? I can answer that one right now. You are not the asshole. Wow. I mean, that's gutsy. Yeah. I, male, 28, have been with my fiance, 27, female, for almost 5 years. We were supposed to get married this fall. 2 days ago, I was at my parents' house helping my dad, male, 55, set up his new phone, and I ended up transferring a bunch of his old files while organizing. I came across an old hidden folder with screenshots of texts between him and my fiance from around 4 years ago. Oh, that's not good. Turns out they hooked up multiple times while she and I were already dating. The messages were explicit. They were talking about how no one could ever find out because it would ruin everything. I honestly felt like I was going to throw up. I confronted them both immediately. I would have puked right in their face. Oh my gosh. Okay, let that go. My dad just sat there stone faced and said it was a mistake that didn't mean anything. My fiance started, stop, Otto, quit. My fiance started sobbing and saying she was young and didn't know what she wanted back then. Okay. And that she loves me and wants to spend her life with me. They both begged me not to tell my mom or my siblings because it would destroy the family. I told her the wedding was off and left. Later that night, I told my mom everything. Now my entire family is in chaos. My mom kicked my dad out, and my siblings are telling me I'm an asshole for blowing everything up over something that happened before you guys were even engaged. And my fiance is texting me nonstop saying I'm ruining both of their lives over a stupid mistake. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Did I really overreact by canceling the wedding? Am I the asshole for telling my family and blowing everything up? I got one vowel and one syllable, okay? No, you're not. No, you're not. Oh my God. You are a better person than me because I would have just tore that up. Look, this one right here just isn't messy. It's not just messy. It's like nuclear level family drama. And I'm going to say it straight because sometimes people try to twist logic to make betrayal sound smaller than it is. Okay. And that's exactly what they're doing to you right now. You didn't blow the family up the moment your fiance and your father decided to hook up behind your back and your mother's back while you were already in a relationship. They lit the fuse and just hoped it would never explode. That wasn't a mistake. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or saying something dumb in an argument. This was a repeated secret affair with your own dad, with messages talking about how nobody could ever find out. That means they both knew exactly how wrong it was, and they chose to do it anyway. And then after you discovered it, the first thing they asked was how it wasn't how to make it right for you. It was, please don't tell anyone because it will ruin everything. Well, guess what? When people do something that destructive, okay, the truth, it tends to ruin things because the truth exposes what was already broken. Calling off the wedding is not an overreaction. That's basic self-respect and self-preservation at that point. Marriage is built on trust. And if someone can look you in the face for 4 years knowing that they slept with your father and never say a word, that foundation is already cracked beyond repair. And the siblings saying you blew everything up are missing the point completely because the family wasn't destroyed by the truth. It was damaged by the betrayal that happened in the first place, right? You didn't create the chaos. You just uncovered it. And if there's any silver lining here, it's that you found out before you legally tied your life to someone who was capable of that level of a deception. That hurts like hell. But it saved you from something far worse down the road, right? Got a few comments. A mistake is ordering a Coke and being given root beer. Cheating on your spouse, on your boyfriend, is not a mistake. It's a choice. They made their choices. You made yours after learning about theirs. Not the asshole. Second comment. How do you accidentally sleep with someone? Do you trip? Your clothes disappear, your privates connect, and due to some weird reality dysfunction, you can't stop having relations with each other? No, cheaters chose to cheat. By all means, for your entertainment, ask them one-on-one to break it down for you how they accidentally had relations together. Ask them why, after the first oops, they didn't tell you they are liars. Then keep those toxic people out of your life. Good idea, not the asshole. Third comment, oops, sorry, son. I accidentally fell tallywhacker first into your girlfriend multiple times. I'm so clumsy. Okay. Yeah. What all three of these comments are really saying in different ways is that cheating isn't something random. It's not an accident that just happens to people like slipping on a wet floor. It's a series of choices that somebody keeps making while fully understanding the damage it would cause if the truth ever came out. And in this case, it wasn't even just a stranger or a coworker. It was your own father, which makes the betrayal hit on two completely different levels at once. So, look, when they try to frame it like it was just, some old mistake that shouldn't matter now, people are pushing back on that idea because mistakes happen once. But hiding something like that for 4 years while letting you plan a future and a wedding means it wasn't just one bad decision. It was a long chain of deception. And the moment that you found out, you had every right to make your own choice about whether those are people you can trust in your life. And I'd say no, definitely not people you can trust at all. All right, let's see. Last one. Am I the a-hole for what I said after my husband commented on my flat chest? When will they ever learn, right? All right, so my husband Jared and I have been married for 3 years. Yes, I do change all names. I'm very careful. I'm not reading somebody else's word, blah, 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 okay? He's currently out of work. Used to work at a high-paying job, but got kicked out of the company after a fight with a coworker, and I'm the one paying for rent and utilities. We dedicate some time to see this family weekly. Stop. They don't know he's unemployed because he thought they'll see him as a failure, especially his mom. So he told me to keep it a secret. Last night, we were sitting eating dinner at the table. His cousin was talking about his fiance. I'm sorry, y'all. This dog's about to drive me nuts. I am sitting here trying to read this, and this dog's over here sitting right next to me. And every time he scratches, he's hitting my little table and he's making it bounce back and forth. I'm trying to get him to stop it. Stop. 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 All right. His cousin was talking about his fiance going to Brazil to do a boob job. Jared asked if he was serious, then flattered future sister-in-law's boobs, saying they're perfect and that he didn't understand why she'd get a boob job. Okay. Why would you say that? Never mind. I'm gonna let that one go. He then turned to me, stared at my chest while I was eating like an idiot. I have a flat chest. I'm insecure about it, but can't do anything about it, obviously. And said, hey, why don't you get a boob job? You're the one who needs it the most. He said, what? Oh, this is one of those times where I wish I could just jump right through that screen. His mom gasped and was like, Jared? I said, it's fine. I then turned to him and said, I'll get a boob job once you get an actual job, since you've been unemployed for 6 months now. Ooh, she done laid all his ish bare, didn't she? He stared at me in disbelief. His mom began questioning him about it being unemployed, and he denied, then admitted it was true. It got awkward with his mom scolding him and others shaming him for it and for hiding it. He got so overwhelmed, he went outside and stayed inside the car till I came. He started yelling at me repeatedly. You couldn't have held your effing tongue. For those of you who don't know, that's forking tongue. Yeah. And accused me of turning his family against him and having them judge, then shun him. Now he can't even step a foot in their house from shame and guilt. I argued that his comment about my chest was insulting, but he said he was giving me a piece of advice and that there is nothing wrong with him wanting me to look pretty, and that he said what he said out of support and encouragement. Are you forking kidding me? But what I did was the complete opposite, and that is what it was intended to hurt him, and I succeeded. He dropped me off at home, then went to stay with his buddies. I called him later thinking he'd calm down, but his friend said he didn't want to speak to me and I should give him space. You have all the space you want to. Come get your shit. Bullshit. Listen, because this one right here is what happens when somebody throws a grenade at the dinner table and then gets shocked when it explodes. Your husband sat there in front of his whole family, looked directly at your chest and told you that you're the one who needs a boob job the most, right? That's not advice. That is humiliation. Advice would be private, respectful, and coming from a place that doesn't make your partner feel like they're being inspected like a product on a shelf. Because just as soon as he said that, everybody's looking at her breast, right? What he did was put your insecurity on display in front of a room full of people and expected you to sit there and quietly smile and take it. Now your response. Yeah, it was sharp. And yeah, it hit him exactly where it hurts. But let's be real for a second. You didn't invent the truth you said out loud. He's been unemployed for 6 months and you've been carrying the bills while also protecting his pride by keeping him secret from his own family. The moment he decided to take a shot at your body in front of everyone, he opened the door, okay, for conversation to stop being polite. And look, the part that really sticks out to me is that he's still trying to frame his comment like it was support and encouragement. Dude, please. This is wild because there is no universe where publicly telling your wife she needs cosmetic surgery is supportive. Period. So yeah, the situation got ugly. But the reality is he embarrassed you first and then got furious when the embarrassment came back in his direction. What do I say? They hate it when you pull a them on them, right? Right. Sometimes when people dish out disrespect in public, they forget that, public is exactly where the consequences might land. All right, comments on that last one. I am still baffled by I want you to look pretty, because we all know that you can only look pretty by having bigger boobs. Creep squared. Second commenter, I figured it was more than a one-time argument if it was enough for him to get fired over. There's a few red flags here between him insulting your body in front of his family and trying to spin it as a positive, complimenting your sister-in-law's body in front of your family, as another commenter pointed out, which is really freaking ridiculous. I mean, she's pretty, but my wife doesn't look good at all. And now snooping on a coworker. I get that he asked you to keep his unemployment a secret, okay? But they were bound to find out eventually. What he said to you was definitely inappropriate and hurtful, and I don't blame you for how you reacted. Third commenter, gently, I think this is what is commonly called a starter marriage. I don't believe in those. Get to a lawyer. Don't start proceedings until he has a job, unless Jared starts proceedings while he's still unemployed. That would suck for you in terms of alimony, maybe. I don't know. That's why you need a lawyer. Jared is a very, very bad person that's done a decent enough job of hiding his poor character until recently. He's not a nice man. Don't have kids with him. Use his family to make sure he gets a job and is self-sufficient. Start planning your exit from this relationship. He's capable of anything. Be careful. So the original poster responded to the lot of all of these. Thank you for these points. Although I felt like I went too far telling his family, but it's the truth. Also, he didn't have an argument with his former coworker, but rather a months-long fight. He told me he thought his coworker was being unethical, but I got told that he, my husband, violated the coworker's privacy to snoop on him, and it resulted in a fight and him getting kicked out of the company. Of course it did. So when you put all three of these comments together, what people are really reacting to isn't just one rude comment at dinner. It's the pattern. We're all about patterns here, right? It is, though. It's the pattern that's starting to show up around your husband, because first he insults your body in front of his family, and then he tries to spin it like he was somehow helping you, which already doesn't sit right with people. And then you add in the fact that he lost his job after a months-long conflict at work. That story sounds like a lot less bad luck and a lot more like someone who struggles with boundaries and accountability. So while your comeback exposed something he didn't want his family to know, the bigger issue everyone keeps pointing out is that none of this chaos started with your response. It started with him publicly disrespecting you and then refusing to take responsibility for the fallout that followed. And yes, I agree. Get the hell out of there. He don't deserve you. Most definitely does not deserve you. As long as you kept that, as long as you've carried that man. Okay? Oh, look, y'all, this is where the stories usually land us, somewhere in that uncomfortable space where nobody looks completely perfect, but one person definitely lit the match that started the whole fire. When you look at what happened in this situation, the real issue wasn't just a comeback at the dinner table. The real issue was respect, and whether the people in a relationship are protecting each other or slowly tearing each other down in front of everyone else. Words matter, especially when they come from the person who's supposed to be on your team. And once those words are out in the open, especially in front of family, you can't really pretend they didn't happen. That's why these moments get so complicated. One comment leads to another, pride gets involved, embarrassment gets thrown into the mix, and suddenly everybody is arguing about the reaction instead of the thing that started the whole mess in the first place. But if there's one takeaway from stories like this, it's that respect is a relationship, or in a relationship isn't something you can turn on and off depending on the audience. You either treat your partner like someone you value, or eventually those cracks start showing up in front of everybody else. And one night, or once that happens, the conversation stops being about one argument, starts being about the bigger picture. How people treat each other when things get uncomfortable. Now, as always, the show isn't about deciding who's perfect and who's terrible. Life doesn't really work that way. What we do here is look at the situation, talk it through, and figure out what we might do differently if we ever found ourselves sitting at the same table, when things start going sideways. So that's today's stories, and I want to hear what you have to say. Please leave a comment. Did the comeback cross the line, or was it the kind of response that happens when someone finally pushes too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because you all always bring the best perspective to these. And if you enjoy these discussions, make sure you absolutely subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of AskABee, which will be tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central, where we keep unpacking the messy, complicated, sometimes hilarious moments that remind us all just how unpredictable people can be. But until next time, tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central, my friends, take care of yourself. And you know what? Try not to start any dinner table wars on your way out, okay? I love you guys so much. Y'all take care, okay? Buzz you later.
I want to take a minute to shout out Tuber Chat. If you're a creator who's tired of surface level advice, and actually wants to understand how YouTube works, that's the space. It's real conversations with real creators who are in the trenches, building channels, testing ideas. No posturing, no gatekeeping, no fake guru energy, just people sharing what's working, what isn't, and why.
If you're serious about growing, learning, and not doing this alone, check out Tuber Chat. The link is in the description. If you're enjoying this show, subscribing is the easiest way to support what's being built here on BBTV. You'll see the join button right next to subscribe. No pressure, no expectations, just an option for people who want to support the channel in a real way.
We're live every day at 3 p.m. Central now.
And don't worry, we didn't change the heat, just the clock. And if you've got a story you want to share, send it in. Anonymous is always fine.
A boss be rising.